Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Loses Control, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Village life starts early in the morning as the warm sun breaks through the still cold air of the previous evening. The citizens of Konoha slowly start going through the motions to begin the day, adding noises that mingle softly with the breeze moving through the trees in the village. Serene would be the word to describe the frequent beautiful mornings in the village, quite literally hidden in the leaves. But not this morning. Like many other mornings over the years, this one will shock villagers from their beds to rush to an open door or window to find the source of the commotion. The villages of a ninja village are used to all sorts of peculiar sights and sounds, for each citizen knows the risks of living in a military stronghold. Depending on what kind of situation or emergency, each villager knows what kind of actions they need to go through for their safety. Emergency and compliance drills have been in practice since the days of the first Hokage to protect all non-ninja villages, giving Konoha citizens a sense of security and peace of mind despite dire circumstances. Over the years, there have been more than a few ninja born and trained in the village that many would consider to be eccentric, odd, or downright weird, and have gotten used to these oddities. Many can remember the pranks of young ninjas, or even the old and famous like the San Jiraiya, being known for their strange behaviors. Though embarrassing and sometimes slightly mean, these pranks have always been viewed as just the quirky natures and mental defense mechanisms of their ninja. That has changed. Fear and worry now fill the villagers' minds when odd noises go bump in the night. Anything out of the ordinary will make those who have been the targets of these new pranks jump in terror and worry about their homes, livelihoods, and very lives. VBOOOOOMMMMMM. BOOOOMMMGGGGMMM. Pop, pop, pang, pop. VRRAAAACK. VRRAAACK. BOOOOOMMM. At the sound of the explosions, the shocked citizens rush to their windows, dropping whatever they were doing or tearing themselves from their beds to find out what has happened. Merchants leave their shops and stands and flood the streets to find the cause of the thunderous explosions. What the hell? Are we under attack? What was that? Who has done this? Are the questions running through the villagers' minds in the few seconds after the explosions rock through the village. And then they see it. Eyes widen in shock, mouths open in horror, and eyebrows narrow in anger as the citizens of Konoha take in the sight of the smoking and now scared visage of the Hokage monument. Screams can be heard in the distance where the smoldering and crumbling stone was raining down on the buildings and homes under and near the mountain. Like all monuments of villages and cities, the great stone faces of the Hokage stand as a reminder of legendary heroes and the great deeds accomplished in the name of the village. The monument stands as a symbol of the past and is significant to the moral and identity of the ninja of the village hidden in the leaves. As the smoke from the blast clears, stones can be seen falling like hail and crashing to the ground and into the surrounding buildings. All eyes watch as the damage to the Hokage faces can now be seen and take in the new look the explosions have changed the cage into. Each explosion has left a jagged black hole or scar in the stone. The first Hokage's nose can be seen smoldering, the second's mouth blown apart making a big O, the third's hair blown away making the stone visage look more like Cage's currently bald head. But the fourth's was the worst, both eyes and mouth blasted away with deep red paint dripping out of holes like blood. It's a sight none will soon forget. However, in a village inhabited by a large population of warriors, the feelings of horror, fear, and despair quickly dissolve as training kicks in. Minds focus on what needs to be done, and many ninja are seen as mere blurs running and jumping into action, taking to the rooftops or bounding between buildings. As the village seems to come to life as ninja are heard running by, all thoughts turn to catching the culprit. Minds race with who could be behind this attack. A ninja village naturally has many enemies. Other ninja villages could attack at any time, or rogue ninja with a grudge against the leaf. Even ninja from their own village have been known to turn crazed and attack their own home. But even with all those other possible enemies, nearly everyone in the village can be heard voicing the same thought on who is responsible as they all yell out the suspected culprit's name. NAAARUUUUUUUTOOOOOOO can be heard in almost perfect unison bouncing off the great walls of the village. Soon the sounds of sprinting footsteps can be heard over the rooftops, and the many accusing villagers can see a ragged orange and blonde silhouette being closely chased by Leaf Ninja. Naruto, hold it right there, yells one ninja reaching for the blonde only to grab air as the boy pivots on his foot, quickly changing his direction and continues jumping from building to building. Another ninja rushes up to intercept Naruto. You've crossed the line for the last time, Naruto. With his arms wide, the ninja lunges in, but Naruto dives under his grasp and continues racing across the rooftops just out of reach. Turning back mid-jump, Naruto's red slit eyes glare back at his pursuers. Ha, just give it up, meat sacks, you can't catch me. Narrowly dodging each ninja, Naruto's loud laughter bounces off the walls and streets of the village. Over 10 ninja and even a few Anbu Black Ops can be seen in hot pursuit, but many know that Naruto is fast and has evaded capture before. Knowing this, the ninja try to herd Naruto into a trap down an alley like they have in the past. Naruto lands on the street, continuing his momentum forward, and jumps down the alley with 2 ninja following. Instead of hearing Naruto's capture, a couple of loud pops can be heard in the alley as explosive notes detonate and the loud crash of the pursuing ninja getting caught in their own trap. On the fence that Naruto and the ninja had just passed a moment before, a square panel of fabric that looks just like the fence drops as the blonde steps away from his hiding spot. Ha 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 ha, none of you loser ninja can catch me, Naruto says with a sneer on his face as a shadow moves to shade over him from behind. Oh yeah, Naruto, a very loud voice thunders right into Naruto's pointed ear, making him jump and stumble. Naruto's red eyes widen in surprise at being caught once again by the same Chunin that has ruined his fun for years now. Aruka, Naruto's eyes narrow as a sneer spreads across his face. What are you doing here, Barker? That last part sounding like it was spat out. With his hand on his hip, Aruka's eyes narrow as the vein on his head pulses as he steps into his lecture stance and points at Naruto. No, what are you doing here, causing a village-wide panic when you're supposed to be in class, and you address me as sensei? HMPH, who needs your stupid class if I can outrun every lame ninja in this stupid village, including you? Naruto crouches to take off again when another familiar voice freezes him in his place. Not another step, Naruto. Turning his head, Naruto looks at the familiar sight of the silver-clad Anbu captain wearing the dog mask with red stripes, flanked by 6 other Anbu. Looking at who he was now dealing with, Naruto's stance relaxes as the Black Ops ninja circle him. Lord Hokage has requested your presence so you can explain your actions to him. You're coming with us. Dog turns towards the Hokage tower and the other Anbu move into an escort pattern with Monkey and Bear holding onto Naruto's arms as all leap to the rooftops. Wind flowing through his hair and the holes through his stained orange clothes, Naruto looks down at and hear the villagers applaud the Anbu and scream at him. Words like demon and monster reach his ears and some even call out to the Anbu to just kill him. Hearing this, Naruto's smile spreads across his face as he thinks, your anger and hate delight me, pathetic humans, but it is not enough. I want to see in your eyes what you used to have when you looked up at me, fear. As the group closes in on the Hokage tower, Naruto's eyes narrow in thought. Now, what is this little bit of fun going to cost me this time, old man? The Hokage's personal office is a familiar sight to Naruto. As the village prankster and troublemaker, he has been called in and escorted by the Anbu many times. The room is large and open, with the Hokage's desk and large chair close to the back of the room where the third practices his calligraphy. Naruto notices that the calligraphy panel he must have been working on this morning was incomplete, with a large line slashed across the paper. Naruto smiles at his thought. I must have interrupted your concentration with all those paper bombs this morning. Sarutobi's eyes narrow at seeing Naruto's smile. What is so funny, Naruto Uzumaki? Indulge me in what you are thinking right now. Naruto crosses his arms and smirks. I was just thinking that you may have had a heart attack this morning. The calligraphy looks like it's drooling back there. Well, you see, Naruto, the third Hokage pauses to take a puff on his pipe. I was relaxing this morning after finishing some arduous amount of paperwork. Sarutobi leans forward, standing up and walking around his desk to stand in front of Naruto, and all of a sudden I hear a commotion so loud that my first assumption was that we were under attack. Then, when I had reached the window to see the cause of the noise, I discovered a shocking sight. Leaning forward, the Hokage's face was inches from Naruto's dirty, whisked face. I see the Hokage monument has been attacked by paper bombs, and immediately I order a squad to search and capture or kill whoever was responsible for this. And considering all that you have done to the village and its villages, you are lucky that it was Aruka that found you and not anyone else, otherwise I may have had to worry about your safety as well. Raising an eyebrow, Naruto snorts before saying, like any of the villagers have the guts to take me out, they can't even walk near me or look me in the eye. Puffing on his pipe, the aging Hokage walks to the window before he continues. You may find that there is only so much that anyone can take, Naruto. Up to this date you have made numerous pranks that have bordered on the criminal. In fact, had your explosives been any weaker they would have created large boulders that would have fallen onto the village. Your bombs were so strong the stone was almost completely vaporized. If any serious damage had occurred you would have been arrested and thrown in jail. At this, Naruto leans back, crossing his arms over his tattered orange jacket, and looks to be in thought. No one died. Next time I've got to do a little more research on those explosive notes, so strange that I can get a better result with less power. Now if I had some foxfire. Walking back to his desk, the third Hokage opens a thick envelope labeled Uzumaki and looks up, taking in Naruto's appearance. Standing there with an air of arrogance and mild annoyance, the 12-year-old really looked like hell. Wild hair with a look like it has never been combed, tattered orange jumpsuit ripped and torn, and with what looks like old dried blood caked on the sleeves and shoulders. It's moments like this when I worry what kind of influence the fox has had on his mind. Sarutobi slowly opens and sifts through the incident reports as he thinks on Naruto's life. All of your pranks have been documented, and each one has been worse than the rest. Sitting back in his chair, the third continues, just to name a few. When you were out practicing your shuriken jutsu on training field 3, you were bullied away and even had kunai thrown at you. You reacted by setting a trap that would fire shuriken at whoever was practicing when they hit the center of the target. Naruto chuckles at this. Turning to another page, the Hokage continues, when you were kicked out of the hot springs you damaged public property and redirected the local sewage line to run into the public baths. A wide smile stretches across Naruto's face at the memory of screaming people running from the public bath covered in from head to toe in their own shit. And when Mizuki failed you from last graduation, you did something that simply baffled me. Looking up from his paper at Naruto, his ire rises as he watches the boy laugh loudly. Oh come on, even you have to admit that that was funny. Naruto. Mizuki could have died. I don't even know how you got your hands on tiger pheromones to spray Mizuki with, and even more unbelievable is that you actually got a tiger into his apartment. Naruto loses it at this point and laughs his almost maniacal laugh. Gwaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaa He was screaming for help and no one wanted to go in because of the sounds the tiger was making, and he ended up running out his door with no pants and claw marks on his back. Gwaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaleaving a noticeable dent, and yells at Naruto. And this time your actions are by far the worst ever. I was lenient in punishing you before because you reacted to people treating you badly, and there is no amount of public service that will equal in penance for what you've done. Naruto clenches his fists as anger twists into his face and stares down the furious Hokage. This time, Naruto, you have attacked the village without provocation, damaged a historical monument, and not only insulted the memories of my teachers and friends but every other ninja in this village. Acts of which are punishable by expulsion from the Ninja Academy and maybe even imprisonment. At the mention of expulsion, a slight sign of alarm can be seen through Naruto's angry eyes. You can't expel me, I'm going to graduate this time and actually learn real ninjutsu. Walking back over to stand in front of the blonde, the aging Hokage stares down the boy. No, I don't think that you could become a ninja, Naruto, not now and maybe not ever. A ninja does not only work for their village but most of all protects it. This is our home, Naruto. Each ninja lives, works, and dies for the village and all who live here. Remember the first day you came to the academy and what it was that I said to you as I welcomed you. Barely controlling his rage, Naruto thinks carefully. If he takes me out of the academy, then I won't receive any more training on how to use this human chakra. I haven't learned how to control it properly yet, and I haven't felt any of my true chakra or learned anything at all on how to release myself from this tetragram seal and this human existence. I have to answer his question carefully or else I may lose my chance at freedom. The third watches Naruto as the boy is obviously deep in thought and waits patiently until a look of recognition is seen in his eyes. You spoke of the will of fire, and how each and every ninja must discover it for themselves and use it to become our strength. Surprised, Sarutobi raises an eyebrow and moves back to sit behind his desk and absently stare into the crystal ball in the middle of the table. Naruto, I might have been wrong. There is still a chance that you may become a ninja. I won't expel you from the academy considering that the graduation exam is tomorrow. Whether or not you are capable of becoming a ninja is only possible once out of the academy. If you pass, there will be more public service for you to do, and I think I will deduct money from your pay earned on ninja missions until the Hokage monument has been repaired. Now, if I am not mistaken, you are supposed to be in class, so Iruka will escort you back, and he has volunteered to oversee you clean up the damage you have done to the village. I understand, Hokage. I will pass and become a ninja and will become the most powerful ninja this village has ever seen, believe it. Once Naruto leaves, Sarutobi stands up to look out his window and watch the Anbu with Iruka leave the outer gates. Naruto's intelligence is quick, he knew exactly what to say to let me give him another chance to become a ninja. I hope this will turn out for the best, if not. Back at the academy, Naruto stands in front of the class being lectured by Iruka. You're messing up again, Naruto. You failed last year's graduation, the exit exam is days away, and now you pull something like this on the village. Naruto's reaction to Iruka's words was to raise his eyebrow, roll his eyes, and snort, looking out the window, looking like he couldn't care less. The vein above Iruka's eyebrow twitches as the irritated frown on his face deepens. Fine. Since you missed today's lesson, everyone will practice the transformation jutsu. An immediate and uniformed moan comes from nearly every student at having to do the same thing over again. With Iruka in the front of the class with his clipboard calling names, each student waited in line for their turn. Next up, Sakura Haruno, the pink-haired girl, walks up and forms the seal for the transformation jutsu and puffs into a perfect replica of Iruka. Transformed into me? Good. Looking down to make a mark on his clipboard, Iruka misses Sakura's little jump of joy as her inner voice cheers on her success. Sasuke, did you see that? Next up, Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke walks up to take his turn and quickly transforms into Iruka. Ah, good. Sasuke walks back to his place in line looking as indifferent as always to the cheers he gets from the girls. Ooh, this is so lame, we always have to pay for your screw-ups, Naruto. Ino Yamanaka's annoyed face looks at Naruto from around Choji. Yeah, Naruto, it's always such a drag having to do all this extra work because of you. Shikamaru's annoyance was clear in his voice, but then again he always sounded annoyed. Next up, Naruto Uzumaki. Like I care what makes any of you happy, Naruto says as he walks up to take his turn. As Naruto passes a small dark-haired girl, her eyes first turn fearful then soft as she quietly says, Naruto, good luck, do your best. Iruka's face set into a stern expression stares down the small blonde. Scratching his twitching ear, Naruto looks up into Iruka's eyes and forms the sign for the transformation jutsu and smirks before he cries, transform. Smoke forms from under the soles of Naruto's feet and rushes up to cover his body just as the jutsu normally is performed. Iruka's eyes widen as he looks up at the thing that emerged from the smoke. It was big and black and looked like a fleshy head with feet. The top bends down to point at Iruka and two large glowing red eyes open. The center of the head cracks open and big large jaws gap wide with a roar. Iruka has enough time to take one startled step back as the creature lunges forward and clamps his jaws on Iruka. With another pop of smoke, the illusion cancelled out and Iruka was on the ground with one hand on the ground and the other clutching the clipboard, looking up at a laughing blonde. How did you like that? That's my scary jutsu. In an instant Iruka was on his feet and without seeing any hand sign transformed his head 5 times its size, much like Naruto had just done, and yells, cut the stupid tricks, this is your last warning. Bending over to pick up another scorched black rock, Naruto grunts as he lifts it off the ceiling of the building he was on. Tossing the stone onto the cart with all the other stones, Naruto drags his feet back to the courtyard where most of the heavy stones fell from the monument. GGNN, all these big stones and not one body. I wasn't going to intentionally kill someone, but there should have been some collateral damage other than breaking a few bricks, some roof tiles and windows. I'm tired of these pathetic attacks. I have only learned a little chakra control and paper bombs are the only things I can use my chakra effectively on. I need to learn more of these jutsu. If I fail this exam I won't learn anything new. You're not going home until you've cleaned all this up. Iruka was keeping a close watch on Naruto sitting on a roof. Whatever, it's not like I have anything or anyone to go to tonight or any night, so who cares? Turning his back on Iruka, Naruto goes back to work and doesn't see Iruka's saddened face at his words. Say Naruto, after you're done with all this, how about I treat you to some ramen, the good stuff, so what do you say? Naruto stops still at hearing this and slowly turns his head to look at Iruka and ask, what's ramen? Ichiraku ramen shines like a beacon in the dark streets at night, the short flags blocking view of the dinners but just long enough to show empty seats to an interested passing customer. This night few sit enjoying a steaming bowl of ramen, but the most noticeable are the green-vested chunin sitting next to the tattered bastard. As they wait sitting in front of the glass counter separating the sitting area and the small kitchen, Naruto's eyes are wide and nose flaring with the smell of the food as he watches Ayami and her father prepare the large double pork ramen bowls Iruka ordered. Turning to look at Naruto's curious face, Iruka asks, Naruto, why would you do that to the Hokage faces? I mean, you know who the Hokage are, right? Looking away from the ramen, Naruto takes a moment to look Iruka in the eye. Of course I know, everybody knows. Then why, Naruto, why did you do it? The happy voice of Ayami interrupts with, 2 large miso pork ramen, thank you and enjoy, and places the steaming bowls down. Naruto's nose can be seen twitching as he takes in the new smell. This strange soup with white worm things in the middle has multiple strong smells working together. I smell, bone marrow, yum, smells like pig flesh, some vegetables, and smells like some kind of bean mixed in. This is the first time human cooking has smelled so good. Turning his red eyes back to the chunin, people who are afraid to do the impossible will never accomplish anything great. I have done pranks in the past, but my last big prank before graduating had to be my biggest one yet, and no one would ever think of attacking the most superfluous decoration of the village. By accomplishing greater feats than those around me, I will gain power faster. I will be the most powerful force in this world, and all will show proper respect to me. And I will be able to burn this village and use this mortal world as my plaything. Iruka's slightly surprised face is stuck mid-slurp with noodles sticking out of his mouth at this declaration. Naruto isn't usually this vocal about his goals and dreams, but why do I always feel like he's holding something back? Naruto lifts up the bowl in his hands and takes a tentative sip at the broth in the bowl. Then, as fast as any person has ever seen anyone eat before, Naruto's hand snaps out, grabbing a pair of chopsticks and begins to devour the bowl of ramen. When finished, Naruto slams the bowl back down on the table, leans back and releases a deep guttural burp. Well, Naruto, you may have the drive to become a ninja and to become strong, but tomorrow you're going to need real focus to pass the graduating exam and not some quick joke like that scary jutsu. And with that, Iruka gets up and pays for the meal and begins to walk home. Hey, wait a minute, you deadbeat, get back here and buy me another bowl of this heaven broth. The apartment districts of Konoha are spread out inside the village and are commonly known by their locations and reputations. Places like the luxurious North Side apartments near the Hyuga estates, which usually are homes for the better-off businessmen and dignitaries, or the Southeast Ninja Belt filled with professional and primarily single ninja. But the only apartment district with a nickname was the Northeast apartment block, the Boonies. Low-income apartments are important for any society, allowing a roof for all and a place for everyone. However, over the years the Northeast Block earned its nickname as less and less people began living and renting there and less money went into maintenance. The neglect left the buildings starting to look like they belonged in a ghost town, giving the Boonies a creepy reputation and keeping the streets empty at night. One 3-story apartment with its peeling yellow paint and cracking plaster was avoided the most by all the locals. Its cracked windows would rarely light up at night in the one apartment in the whole building by its sole occupant. The first rays of sunlight peeking into Naruto's apartment windows begin to illuminate the dusty room. No furniture to speak of, no bed and no couch and not even a chair, all there are is pillows, pillows everywhere. Pillows of every shape and size piled on top each other, spreading out, covering the whole floor. As the sun hits a mound of pillows by the window, they begin to stir slowly, and soon a teenage human's back arches up as the heat stirs him awake. Pushing himself to his knees, Naruto's bleary eyes slit open and turn to the window. No matter how many times I feel dawn wake me, this human form does not want to wake up, if I gave in and just close my eyes. No, wake your ass up, you PITIFULL human form. Pushing up on his hands and feet, Naruto bleary-eyed walks on all fours, making his way to the bathroom, climbing over pillows and passing the mound of used ramen cups in the corner by the door. Raising up to his legs, Naruto walks into the bathroom to go do his business. He learned his lesson in the past about walking on all fours into the bathroom by hitting his head on the porcelain altar. After flushing the toilet and spraying himself with water for a couple of seconds in the shower, he steps out of the bathroom and shakes the water from his skin much like any animal would to get the water out of their fur. As much as I hate these humans and the greedy natures, they do have the best idea so far for disposing of waste. It's so much better smelling than just picking a spot in your cave or burying it somewhere. Walking through the kitchen sniffing around until he finds a half-eaten instant ramen cup and downs it whole. Damn this instant ramen, it's nothing like that Ichiraku's place with real meat in the broth. I wonder if it's the human's taste buds that likes this so much or if I actually like this stuff. Then moving to the refrigerator, he pulls the handle and looks inside. But nothing is better than the hunt and the kill. To him, a demon reborn as a human, the contents of his refrigerator look normal, but to any true human it would look like it belonged to some deranged serial killer. The inside walls were copper brown with dried blood. The racks were full of meat of various animals, some still with skins and fur attached. The fox in him couldn't stand not hunting for his food at night, besides most of the supermarkets wouldn't even let him in the building to buy anything. The Hokage had to step in and make a store sell him groceries, as well as give him his monthly allowance of money. But the only remotely human food found in the fridge were the cartons of eggs and some gutted fish in brown paper from the market. Reaching for an egg, he grabs the last of his breakfast and slams the fridge door shut, begins to chomp and slurp the raw egg. Naruto continues to eat while staring out the window as the village begins to wake. He thinks about the day to come. Damn ninjas, you would think they would be nocturnal as I naturally am, but no, they need to rise with the sun every day as if the sun grants them some kind of protection. Today was different than most though, lots of planning, practice, and patience had accumulated to today. Crimson eyes narrow at the thought of being free of the ninja academy, of becoming a genin ninja. When I'm a genin I can read in the village archives, and with a jonin sensei I can learn new ways of harnessing this weak human chakra. So far the only thing I can handle is the slightly useless transformation jutsu that allows me to evade capture or literally scare the crap out of these fucking villagers. Today I will pass the graduation exam and take the next step to unlocking this confounded seal to my infinite power, and then freedom. With dark thoughts running through the transmuted demon's mind, he finishes his morning routine getting dressed in the same tattered human clothing he's had for years now. The orange jumpsuit the Hokage had given him on his 9th birthday had served him well compared to the other clothing he had worn in years past. This particular jumpsuit, according to the old Kage, had been left for him by his mother, Kushina, and it carried the symbols of his people long lost and forgotten. The suit's history did not concern him much, but its durable material made of a canvas-like cloth with steel tri-weave fibers woven through and the ninja leathers did give him the protection his frail human form did not. Picking up and tying on the sash around his waist to hold the frayed ends of his jacket and shirt down, then finding and strapping on his shoes, the demon stands in front of the mirror on his wall and looks at what is reflected back. Looking into that mirror, the usual thoughts and emotions shock through the small blonde's mind. The eyes are what he focuses on. Black slits in crimson orbs are the only familiar sight in the reflection of what is supposed to be his face. Instead of red-orange fur there is pink skin, instead of a long snout and jaws there is a small nose and a mouth with slightly elongated canines. The more he stares into his eyes the angrier he gets, his face contorts slowly into a rage with teeth bare and a stare that could create the same effect as killing intent. And then it happens, for a flash it seems as though his reflection changes to his true form, the nine-tails demon fox with fur bristling as he shakes with rage. But like every other morning before he leaves the apartment, he stares at his reflection as the human face is all that looks back. No. It's time to focus, breathing out and calming his features to look emotionally neutral, which with years of scowling and giving the death stare to thousands has left the blonde's face into a stern expression. What is your name, what are you? He whispers to the human face in the mirror. Pulling his teeth into a pained smile he answers back, my name is Kura. Growling out in frustration at the slip-up he clenches his fist, I will not speak my true name in this form if I can help it, now again. What is your name? Standing straight with his left hand in a fist on his waist and the other hand in a thumbs up as his eyes almost squeeze shut from the toothy smile stretched across his face. Your name is Uzumaki Naruto, and I am the best ninja ever, Dattebayo. You fail. The huge henge of Iruka's head yells from behind his desk at the now smoky room from the failed attempt of Naruto's clone jutsu. Iruka's mind races as he watches Naruto's shocked expression. He couldn't make one solid clone. It looked like it was made of smoke and was standing in front of a powerful fan. He looks down and picks up the fail stamp to mark the young ninja hopeful's file. Hold on there, Iruka. Mizuki puts his hand on top of Iruka's, stopping him from using the stamp. Mizuki-sensei, I cannot pass him since he wasn't able to make a clone for more than a second before it failed. Naruto's eyes dart back and forth between Iruka and Mizuki, the slightest bit of hope in his eye that for some reason Mizuki would stick up for him. Mizuki takes the stamp out of Iruka's hand and slides Naruto's file over to him. Oh no, don't misunderstand me, Iruka-sensei. He slams the stamp in the appropriate box and lifts to reveal the big red fail now on the paper. I just wanted to have the chance to fail him myself. Outside the academy, a large group of brand new genin were showing off their headbands to their parents. Some adults in plain clothes and some older ninja can be seen congratulating their next generation as a fellow leaf ninja, but two in kimonos looked over at the blonde leaning against the tree next to the swing across the yard. Look, he's the only one who failed, the older woman sneered, lifting her nose as she stared over her shoulder. Just imagine what a dangerous thing like him could be if he became a ninja. He would be. Oh, the women had just noticed that Naruto was looking right at them and was raking his claws into the tree. Both turned quickly and rejoined their families, leaving the blonde to stand with his hands in his pockets looking deep in thought. While the crowd continues with their happy chatter, two sets of eyes belonging to the Hokage and Iruka keep watch over Naruto from among the crowd. Iruka, we need to talk. Naruto pushes off of the tree and starts walking away when he sees another figure leaning against the tree by the exit. As the orange-clad boy walked up to pass Mizuki, Naruto never took his eye off his prissy teacher. Mizuki had a strange look in his eyes. Say, Naruto, we need to talk. The Hokage and Iruka were sitting where the aging leader liked to take tea, on an open ledge on the side of the Hokage's office overlooking a corner park with trees and a small lake by the old Uchiha district. Iruka, I have long overlooked Naruto's antics due to the belief that he has been acting out in the desperate need for attention. He knows the pain of not having the love of a mother and father, just as I have told you before he became a student of yours. Sipping at his tea, Sarutobi looks out at the view, but I have to ask, since his behavior has been so dark, what do you think, Iruka? The scarred Chunin eyebrows furrow as he listens intently to his leader. Do you think Naruto has succumbed to the influences of the fox? Do you think he is a danger to the village? Aside from me, you are the only other person who has spent any amount of time with him, you and the Anbu. Eyes looking down at his own untouched tea and recalling all the times through the years Naruto had been in trouble. Taijutsu classes where Naruto had to be reminded over and over again not to bite or use those thick and sharp claws of his. He learned early that Naruto could adhere to walls and trees with those claws, or make some deep gouges in people's skin. The students' scared faces as he came into the classroom over the years, or the fights he would be in the middle of with whichever student looked at him wrong, the children always seemed to avoid Naruto even when he was calm and not causing chaos. He was showing promise in taijutsu and was second only to Sasuke Uchiha, but had little to no patience for his history lessons and was even worse at molding his chakra. And there was all his mean pranks and sinister attitude. Lord Hokage, I do believe that Naruto's behavior has been influenced. The Kage's eyes narrow at this information. No one likes him, the students have always been afraid of him. The few times I've been with him to enforce his public service, I have seen the treatment he receives by the other villagers, even hearing whispered words of demon as we pass by. I too think that he is so negative because of the environment he is in, which is clearly hostile. Standing and walking to the railing, Sarutobi ponders on the information he's just heard, thinking to himself on Naruto's future. And thinking on the immediate future, he reminds himself to increase the patrols in case Naruto plans on taking his frustrations out on failing the test with another dangerous prank. A balcony with an open grate on the 5th floor of a building missing a whole guardrail would be a strange sight almost anywhere, but in ninja villages these balconies were some people's front doors. Naruto sits there with his legs hanging over the edge, staring out at the surrounding buildings. Mizuki was leaning against the wall staring at the back of the blonde's head. You know, Iruka is a tough sensei, but he has nothing against you, unlike me with our history. He pushes off the wall and with slow methodical steps moves behind Naruto. You fight well, you can run as fast as most Chunin, even up walls without chakra, but that's been your problem all along, your chakra control, you little monster. Naruto turns, putting his left hand down to glare back at Mizuki in his way that made his naturally dark lines around his eyes seem to darken. But, even I have a heart, Naruto, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Fast tapping sounds that can be heard across rooftops made by the specialized ninja sandal make little to no noise. A good ninja will make no noise that anyone can hear except for the ninja themselves. Most don't know the freedom of running as a ninja. The sound of the fast tapping of a ninja's feet, the feel and sound of air rushing across the skin and through your hair, the thrill of using one's momentum to leap and soar between buildings like you are flying. Naruto is running like this tonight across roof tiles and telephone poles, propelling himself to the Hokage Tower. He has a mission, and his mind is focused with a predatory ferocity. Leaping off the last house, he keeps his body straight until he zooms in on the top roof tiles of the outer wall, and he uses his arms to springboard off, continuing his motion into a series of flips to slam his claws into the wall of the Hokage Tower. He stays there with his claws embedded in the wall with small cracks around the holes he's made with his fingers. His head pivots to see if he was spotted. His eyesight is amazing at night, since his eyes see not only visible light, but infrared light too. The area was clear, so he peels one hand out of the wall and proceeds to climb up and make his way to the open square in the wall reserved for the Anbu leading into the tower. Running through into the inner halls, he runs to the Hokage's personal study, and then into the vault behind the left scroll on the back wall, the largest scroll with the redwood center. Grab it and escape, piece of CAAAAA. Sniffing at what he just smelled and recognizing not only that it was the Hokage's scent of tobacco and stress, but that he was close enough that he was 3 seconds away from running into the old cage. Sarutobi was in his office at the time, dealing with his usual mounds of paperwork, when he heard the sound of someone hitting the outer wall. When he decided to check on it, he knew he was right in heading down the hall when he heard the footsteps were heading his way rapidly. When the footsteps were just about to turn the corner, he set his feet, preparing to face the intruder. He was then taken for the first time in a long time completely by surprise. The sudden puff of smoke of a henge are the first he can see, but what slides out is a beautiful naked woman with thin wisps of smoke obscuring strategic body parts. Sarutobi can't help but take in the view of the woman starting at her ankles and worked his eyes up, feeling the blood rushing to his head as her ample breasts come into view. And finally, after a longer millisecond pause on her chest, his eyes go up to where her face should be. But instead of a normal human face, there was a strange slimy-looking black muzzle that opened into a screeching roar and dripping teeth. Sarutobi promptly falls on his butt, eyes white with shock, barely register the retreating dirty orange boy running into his study. I really should send out word to the Anbu to secure the area so he can't escape, but I don't want anyone seeing my front covered in red and my back stained in brown. I'm going to change first. Running out with the scroll strapped to his back and making his way to the forest was actually easy. Once Naruto was in the trees, he was really fast. Bounding from branch to branch, he soon descends into a clearing with a small forest ninja hut. Sitting down and unfolding the large scroll, Naruto reads the title, Konohagakure, or Grand Scroll of Sealing. Naruto's eyes stretch wide with surprise. This is it. This is what I need to get free. His eyes dart back and forth wide as he takes in the information on the scroll. First is Shadow Clone Jutsu, creating perfect copies of myself in any number depending on how much chakra is applied. Concentrating chakra into the navel in a spiral while thinking of your chakra like small bubbles when blown out from your body expand into perfect copies of yourself. Yes, I think this will be a handy weapon. HMMMNN. What's next? Rolling the massive scroll more open to reveal more jutsu spread across the paper, some in neat calligraphy and even a few small jutsu in between, others like quickly added notes. So this is a scroll written by Hashirama and his kin. There are a lot of forbidden jutsu here. What's this one? Shunshin no jutsu, and this little scribble says, transparency jutsu. That actually sounds useful. Or this one, Keke Genki Kaitu. His red eyes read and re-read the applications of this jutsu, not quite believing what he was reading. Committing this jutsu to memory, he then moves on to the next, rolling the scroll open more, but a small sound reaches his pointy ears. The sound of a ninja running through the trees heading his way. Even from afar, Naruto's demon-enhanced hearing could pick up many sounds around him, and all the years of running from ninjas in this little body has given him an almost sixth sense where he could almost see the ninja. As Naruto stands while rolling the scroll up, he stretches his muscles. Moving around to spread blood through the muscles was a trick he learned in the academy, and he wanted to be ready to face his enemy. As the sounds of the approaching ninja get closer, Naruto sniffs the air. He recognizes the scent, Mizuki. There is no way that this scroll is a test for passing the academy. There's too many forbidden jutsu in this scroll to let it be stolen. Mizuki, you want this scroll for yourself. Maybe to sell it, or if you're actually trying to become a non-lame ass ninja by learning some powerful techniques, but either way you have used me tonight. Slipping a kunai into his palm, he hides it along his forearm. For trying to make me your tool, Mizuki, you die tonight. Besides, you're more than likely planning on killing me. I won't be killed by a fool like you. I have a destiny to fulfill. Mizuki lands on the last branch before the clearing and stands tall, angling just right to show the points on his oversized shuriken strapped to his back. Looking down, Mizuki sees his prey standing there in the clearing with the scroll strapped to his back. Naruto, excellent job stealing the scroll. I can now tell you congratulations, you graduate. Plastering on his best smile and squint eyes, he laughs while reaching behind his head to scratch his neck and move to unclasp the first shuriken. But instead, Mizuki's eyes snap open at the sound of a kunai slicing through air to see the knife moving fast towards his face. Sidestepping out of the weapon's path, the knife sails past, just cutting a strand or two of his white hair. Naruto, what do you think you're doing? Putting his hands behind his head, Naruto glares back at Mizuki. What I'm doing is pretty obvious to anyone with a brain. Me throwing a kunai at you is just my way of saying, I know what you're doing here. The vein throbbing on his forehead seems to get bigger as Mizuki's anger rises. Well, the village demon brat figured out my little ruse. Say, Naruto, do you know why everyone in the village calls you demon? It's because it's true, you are a demon, you are the nine-tailed fox. Didn't you think it was strange, the way the villagers treated you, like you're a dirty mangy animal, and it is why this village will never accept you. Staring down at the blonde to see what his words were doing to the small boy, he watches as the 12-year-old lifts his head to lock eyes with Mizuki. Tell me something I don't know, Mizuki. The aforementioned ninja's eyes widen in shock as this was not an expected revelation. I hate you humans so much, but not as much as I hate you, tiger bitch. Memory flashes back through Mizuki's mind and fills with rage, re-experiencing the ordeal the small demon had put him through, and in a flash ripped off the huge shuriken off his back. Die, demon. Spinning the shuriken in his hand, Mizuki hurls the weapon at Naruto, who in the few milliseconds shifts to dodge, but slips his foot on the loose sand. Eyes wide in fear, he loses his balance and the spinning death missile twists vertically in the last few feet to slam into his stomach. The speed and strength behind the shuriken lifted the small blonde off his feet and pinning him to the outside wall of the hut. Yes, I've killed the demon, now I take the scroll and escape this village. Bending his knees to jump to his kill, he stops as Naruto's body pops into a cloud of smoke, leaving the shuriken embedded in wall. What was that, a shadow clone? How did he do it? I thought he couldn't make clonuke. Mizuki was too shocked by the shadow clone to have noticed another Naruto jumping from around the tree to slam a knee into the side of Mizuki's head, sending him falling 30 feet to the ground. Recovering before he slammed head first, Mizuki lands on his feet, sliding backwards to a stop. Looking up at the Naruto still in the trees, his eyes dart left and right when 9 other Narutos walk out from around the trees. You took me by surprise, that's all. To think that a demon like you could learn a jutsu from the Great Scroll is surprising, but I could annihilate you with one move, you little brat. Mizuki ripped the last shuriken off his back when he said his last word. Bring it on, bitch. All 9 bring their hands together to form the cross-hand sign, Shadow Clone Jutsu. The whole area explodes with smoke surrounding Mizuki, and his eyes widen as sweat pours down his face as he takes in the sight of hundreds, no, thousands of Naruto's glare crimson eyes at him. As you can see, I will bring it 1,000-fold right back to you. In a rush, the clones speed towards Mizuki as he in a panic looks back and forth, not knowing what to do about the horde coming for his blood. The first of the clones surrounding the doomed Chunin were running their claws through the dirt, then swiped up to rip into Mizuki's body. The sharp claws sprayed blood and the force of their strikes lifted Mizuki into the air where other clones would zoom past him, punching him this way and that way. The effect made Mizuki into a human pinball as every clone took the opportunity to kick him back into the air or send him flying into another wave of clones. Pain fills Mizuki's mind as each strike fractures another bone or claw tears into his skin, and as one last kick to his solar plexus sends him higher than before. His one still open eye can barely see the orange blur flying to him, spin midair to rocket a spinning back kick to his cheek. The kick sent him flying into the nearest tree and with a sickening sound made contact head first, breaking his neck. Mizuki's fall back to earth was missed as the area once again filled with smoke as each clone popped out of existence. But, when the smoke cleared, the bloodied Chunin was sprawled on the ground with the trunk of the tree propping him up. Naruto walks the last few feet to stand in front of the broken man. This is what you get for tricking me, Mizuki. You knew that graduating out of the academy was what I wanted more than anything else, and after reading the scroll I knew that you were going to steal it and escape the village. Mizuki's swollen eyes blearily train on the shadowed blonde. Obviously he is close to unconsciousness but weakly tries to speak. Damn you demon, I'll kill you. Naruto puts his hands on his hips and smirks. I don't think you're going to be killing anyone, not ever again, and definitely not me. I could be kind and just put you out of your misery, but I think I'll let Iruka take you in instead. Turning sideways and looking high up into the trees at the other Chunin standing there panting with a shocked look on his face. Naruto, this is, I can't believe what has happened. Jumping down to stand next to Naruto, Iruka looks at the now unconscious Mizuki. I can't believe what has happened tonight. Dozens of ninja were commanded to bring you to the Hokage for stealing the scroll of sealing, and to think even I believed you were guilty, but it was Mizuki who had caused all this. Naruto, saw. Naruto walks away towards Mizuki before Iruka can finish his sentence. It's pointless apologizing for the actions of one man. He has hated me for years and I found any and all chances to get back at him. It's pretty clear now that he would have tried to use me and betray me. Reaching down, Naruto pulls the now blood-red headband off Mizuki's head. He used the leaf, as he used me, a demon. Iruka's worried expression deepens as his fears are confirmed after watching Naruto's clone attacks and hearing Mizuki call him a demon. Naruto, Mizuki told you the truth. Yes, he told me that there is a demon inside me, and I've known for years. Squeezing his hand around the metal headband, he looks down at the dirt. I've heard the people over the years call me demon. I've felt the hatred of an entire village. Even those who are supposed to help me have done the best to hurt me. Walking 6 steps away and looking up at the trees, he continues with Iruka's wide eyes trained on the young blonde. And all I've wanted now for years is to become a ninja of the leaf, to be accepted by the village at last, to not feel hatred towards me for what I have become and help me achieve my greatest potential. Not only as the greatest ninja that ever lived, but as a human being, and no matter how long it takes or what I have to endure, I will be a ninja someday. Iruka, completely taken in by the sincerity in Naruto's voice, stares at the whirlpool symbol on Naruto's back, thinking on the future for the young boy. Without a chance to let him grow and show his potential, he may regress and become the demon the village believes him to be. But as a ninja of the leaf, he can strive each day to prove himself to all those around him. Closing the distance between them, Iruka places a hand on his shoulder and turns the boy around to take the bloody headband out of his hands. Naruto, close your eyes, I have something I want to give you. Doing as he was told with a confused look on his face, he squeezes his eyes shut and waits patiently as he feels the older man's hands on his head and hears the sound of cloth rubbing together. Okay, open your eyes. Crimson eyes blink open in the dim light of the slow dawn creeping on the duo. The blonde's eyebrows arch up and feel the new addition to his wardrobe around his forehead. Congratulations, you graduate. Eyes wide in shock, did that bullshit speech really work? Naruto's hand reaches up to the bloodied headband now tied to his head and runs his hand over the etched seal of the leaf symbol. Realization and joy now spreads across the now young ninja's head at the knowledge of his accomplishment, and he jumps, pumping his fist into the air, and yells loud enough for the whole forest to hear. Yaaatttaa. The midday sun is shining down on the rooftop of the Hokage Tower, lighting up the photo set with the newly fixed Hokage faces in the background. Many newly graduated ninja had made their way through getting photos taken for the personal files. But the last appointment of the day was giving the photographer a hard time. Listen kid, do you really want me to take your photo like that? The gray-haired man in glasses stares at Naruto with an annoyed expression. Of course I do, why else would I be sitting here like this, so come on and take the picture already. Okay, the photographer puts his head under the cloth and holds the flash, say cheese. Flash. With the Hokage monument in the background stood Naruto Nine-Tails Uzumaki with his hand in a fist and the other stretched out towards the camera showing his claws. His orange jumpsuit is open, showing the mesh ninja shirt he's wearing. His jacket is sleeveless with what looks like old blood staining the jagged edges of the torn sleeves, making it look like a flames. On his normally bare arms are two heavily scarred leather forearm guards held on with belts. Around his waist is a red sash and an orange and red half cape. The whole piece of cloth was tatted orange with red flames at the bottom. And glaring at the camera was Naruto's ragged yellow hair reminiscent of the fourth mountain sculpture behind his head but with red eyes blazing. The lower part of his face starting from the bridge of his nose down below his jaw is covered with a mask. It looks like a broken in half Anbu mask but had been whittled down probably with a kunai to have a nasty smile full of sharp teeth reminiscent of a fox. Altogether in the photo Naruto looked like a menacing figure standing there with the still bloody headband tied tightly around his head. And the disappointed look of the Hokage's face takes in the photo of Naruto in his hand and then he looks up at the smug face of the blonde sitting in the chair. It took me a while to get all the pieces together. It was a good day at the dumpster behind the ninja shop. I found these arm guards and the cloth matched the clothes I wear now, and there were a bunch of broken stuff where I found the mask and it took me a couple hours to cut the teeth just right. Take it again. What? No way in hell. The stare down commences as they glare daggers at each other. Naruto jumps to his feet and yells, "Transform!" The smoke appears and disappears in an instant to reveal the same giant-jawed dark monster that scared the Hokage that one night. Nice try Naruto, but you're not distracting me with that again. Now take the picture again, this can't even identify you. So next time no masks as they are reserved for the Anbu only. The Kage leans forward folding his hands in front of his face as Naruto puffs back into normal, but a sudden sound comes to his ears. The sound is the fast tapping of ninja sandals running towards him, and from the sound of the feet with how quickly the steps are between each other he could tell they were small feet. And before he turns his head to see he knows it's his small grandson taking advantage of his attention on Naruto to try and surprise attack him. Konohamaru runs with one hand bent at the elbow in front of his collarbone holding a shuriken. "Old man, now's the time I defeat you and become the fifth Hokage." The boy throws the shuriken at the aging Kage and all Sarutobi does to dodge is lean his head to the left letting the spinning razor spin past him to embed itself into the ceiling. As Konohamaru continues to run he reaches into his pocket for another shuriken and jumps into the air pulling out the weapon to throw again, only to be struck in the face by the fast spinning back fist belonging to Naruto. The hit slams into the boy's face and for that first millisecond he feels his cheek pushed farther than it has ever gone before pressing into the bone, and then as the next millisecond begins Konohamaru feels the hardest hit of his life make impact with his skull. Time speeds back to normal as the hit sends the boy spinning in the air to impact hard on the floor and roll twice before stopping. Naruto, the Hokage slams his hands on the table and Naruto snaps his head back at the Kage. "What do you think you are doing to my grandson?" Naruto stands straight and puts his hands on his hips and snorts, "Whatever, I was doing what any loyal ninja is supposed to do and protect the Kage." Sarutobi's eyes flick over to his grandson who had now lifted to his knees to hold his face and silently sob. "That would be true if he was an actual threat to me, but I can't remember the last time I was seriously in danger from an 8-year-old boy." At this point, a tall man wearing the navy blue uniform of most Chunin and Jonin minus the vest skids to a halt at the door. Ebisu's shocked face takes in the scene of the Hokage with his scolding face on, Konohamaru slowly standing up holding his cheek, and a ragged red and orange kid with yellow hair. Of course, the nine-tailed fox, he's the cause of all this. Konohamaru after shaking away the last of the stars in his eyes and runs to Naruto's side and kicks him in the leg. "Hey you, what's your name? I could have you punished for hitting the grandson of the Hokage." Naruto's furious eyes glint dangerously and he grabs the boy's scarf around his neck and lifts him on his toes to yell in his face, "You're the one who should be punished for interrupting my appointment and attacking the old man." He lifts his other hand and flexes his fingers showing his claws menacingly. "Hey, stop that right now, have you been paying attention? That is the grandson of the third Hokage, and you dare raise a hand to him." Ebisu takes a few steps forward clenching his hands to fists. Looking over his shoulder to listen to Ebisu speak, Naruto now slowly relaxes his hand into a light fist. "Ha, that stopped him, just like all the others, he's not gonna touch me again." Putting on his smug grin when Naruto looks Konohamaru in the eyes he says, "What's the matter tough guy, the first thought you were gonna hit me again. You scared that the Hokage is my grandfather?" Rage flashes in Naruto's eyes making them look they glowed red as his teeth bare. "I don't care if he's your mother and wiped your ass this morning, so believe it." Naruto's fist connects with Konohamaru's head with a downward hook, sending the boy's head towards the floor. In the last few moments before his head makes contact with the floor, Konohamaru thinks, "This guy's different, dangerous, and different." Slam. Ebisu, quite beside himself, shakes with disbelief and concern over the pummeling of his prized student. "Naruto, you're really not helping here. Why don't you go and take that picture again before the photographer leaves?" Naruto, completely satisfied with the events that took place, walks out the door as Ebisu flusters, "Oh no, are you alright, honorable grandson?" Pulling the tip of his hat down slightly, the Hokage frowns in frustration at the antics which were one of the main causes of his headaches. "I might have been more upset at all this, but Konohamaru has been a brat these last couple of weeks, so he needs to learn that not everyone will put up with his antics." Walking down the street, going nowhere in particular, Naruto trudges along, thinking on the small loss of not being allowed to keep his mask. Damn wrinkled old cage, I swear he comes up with fake rules and laws to piss me off, and speaking of pissing me off. He had noticed a while ago that he had picked up a tail since the Hokage Tower, and he wasn't any good at hiding or pursuing at all. There were the fast little taps of his little ninja sandals he had heard back in the office. The sound of fabric dragging in the sand as he crept along the sides of buildings, and the worst yet was when he turned around when heard the small pursuer walk right behind him. Naruto's quick eyes were able to take in the full image of the little grandson of the Hokage before the boy notices and ducks, pulling a cloth over his head, acting like he was suddenly invisible. Naruto's eye twitches as he sweat drops at the pitiful sight of the kid's attempt at becoming a stone. "Stones don't have feet, you moron." The red and orange ninja continues on walking and his pursuer jumps back up and continues to follow, poorly. Down the street among some other villagers, Naruto pauses and leans forward to adjust his right sandal. Pushing back on the tip of the sandal by tapping them in the sand, he continues walking on. Konohamaru jumps from around the barrel he was spying around and runs after his prey. Speeding past a villager, he steps right on the spot where Naruto had stopped, and a small pop explodes under his sandal. With a startled cry, Konohamaru's foot slips and sends his butt to the hard earth. By now the villagers had noticed the little boy's fall, and more noticed once they heard the boy's loud whimpering. Getting up and rubbing his behind, he slowly starts his chase again and picks up speed when he hears the laughter of the people watching him try to run away while holding his butt. A little bit up the street, past a couple sets of stairs, Naruto has stopped again. He is good. I only saw him tighten his sandal and he set a trap for me in that moment. I have to be more careful. Naruto is staring at a sign, face gazing with consideration over going into the local baths while reading the large blue welcome sign which read "Baths, Men Only." The dirty orange teen starts walking up to the entrance and goes inside. Not wanting to lose his target, Konohamaru rushes after him up to the building. Looking up at the sign for the baths, he starts thinking of stealing some towels to use as a disguise as he runs into the entrance. What Konohamaru didn't notice was three important things. One was the puff of smoke that escaped out of the open space in the wall just below the roof. Two was that as the boy walked up to the doorway, he didn't see Naruto step around the corner across the street. And third, the sign above the bathhouse suddenly has a puff of smoke appear and disappear in 2 moments. Unfortunately for Konohamaru, he wasn't now outside to read the sign, which properly read as "Baths, Women Only." Naruto's smile widens as he hears the sounds of screams erupt from the public women's bath, and what sounds like the whipping of wet cotton snapping out in between the screams. Waiting with anticipation, Naruto leans against the adjacent wall and watches the wide-eyed panicked kid run out of the baths. And to much disappointment, was relatively unharmed except for a few red marks here or there. HMMGRRFF, annoyance pulls on the yellow-haired teen's face as he walks away from the scene. That happened to me and I ended up with a shuriken embedded in my ass from that damn purple-haired pineapple-headed woman with the nice rack. Konohamaru lifts his head and takes a deep breath and sees his target walking up the street, and gritting his teeth he bolts straight at the blonde's back, leaving behind the stealth he thought he had. Running past the annoyed blonde and sliding in the sand to a halt in front of Naruto, Konohamaru strikes a stance and points his finger at his target. "Alright, tough guy, you're pretty good to notice me tailing you and set me up like that, so I have picked my eternal rival. Well then, ha ha ha." He finishes his laughing, taking his hand and rubbing his nose with a wide smile on his face, only to look up and lose the smile when he saw Naruto's angry expression. There's a harsh glare to his eyes, making his dark lashes tighten and make the lines around his eyes seem solid black. The muscles in Naruto's face that tighten around his eyes and nose adding to the fierce look, and his mouth was just barely spread open to reveal his sharp teeth exposed. This was known to those who have had close encounters or spent one-on-one time with Naruto as his "I'm pissed at you" face. Flexing his fingers, which always show of his claws well enough to cause fear, he walks up to Konohamaru and stops just out of the little boy's arm reach, but not too far for his. With what sounds like a growl in his voice, Naruto harshly responds to Konohamaru's declaration. You, are calling me, your eternal rival, so does this mean you want to fight? Naruto's hand moves in a blur and snatches up Konohamaru by the scarf around his neck just as he had back in front of the Hokage. No, it means that I want to learn from you, boss. Konohamaru's plea seems genuine through his fearful expression. Even he had heard the rumors about the dirty blonde boy Naruto, all villagers would tell him to stay far away from him. Holding Konohamaru up on his tiptoes, Naruto raised an eyebrow in disbelief. You're kidding, right? Do you even know who I am? Wait, I don't care. Listen to me as hard as you fucking can. Do not follow me or else I will find new ways to mess you up. If you come to challenge me to a fight, then I will do a lot worse than this. Grabbing Konohamaru by the hair, he lifts the kid in the air, then pulls him in to ram his knee into the boy's solar plexus. The rush of the air wheezes out of him in a loud whoosh. Naruto drops the kid on the ground and turns to walk away in his sulky back archway with his arms forward. Cough, wait. Konohamaru struggles between coughs and gasps for air to speak as he takes 2 shaky steps at Naruto. Naruto's right eye narrows over his shoulder at the shaky-kneed wannabe ninja. I said, buzz off. Leaning forward, Naruto's leg bends at the knee up to his chest, then swiftly extends a straight back kick into the stomach of Konohamaru. The small wannabe ninja is flying through the air like a rocket, arms and legs flailing behind him as he hurls past villagers to slam across the street into the open dumpster. When his body falls into the bin, the top slams shut. Naruto, smiling to himself, turns back around and continues walking down the street. If the kid comes back after that one, then he's a crazy little human, and he's the Cage's grandson, so I don't think I can get away with killing him, maybe not even scarring. But whatever, I've got more important things to do, like get ready and practice my new jutsus. And I get a Jonin sensei, but I share with 2 other ninjas. I'll have to show the Jonin that I'm better than them. I'll have to gather intel and find their weaknesses if I'm going to get more training time with the Jonin. More jutsu means more power, and more power will help awaken my endless power. Starting to run, Naruto jumps to the nearby roof ledge and runs across the sides of the buildings heading towards the training fields. And back in the distance he hears someone scream, "Honorable grandson." Naruto had spent the next 2 days training, so this morning, unlike most, he slept in past sunrise. But, as soon he was up, he changed and ate quickly, because today was the day of the team appointments at the academy. Naruto closes his front door and sprints to the 3rd floor ledge and leaps from building to building heading for the academy. As he's flying from the rooftops, he looks down at the villagers. Once in a while they will look up and see him running like this. But ever since he started wearing the orange and red flamed half cloak around his waist, he noticed people watching him even more. Like now, there were a couple of people in the alleyway looking up, pointing at him and whispering to each other. With his good hearing, he can make out, "What's that demon wearing? How dare he? And he looks just like." Focusing back on the rooftops, his run continues. I love the looks the people give me now. I remember the 4th Hokage riding on top his summon, his white cloak with red flames flapping in the wind. Closing in on the academy, Naruto takes one last leap that sends him flying with his arms back and knees bent, letting his new half cloak flap in the wind before he lands in a crouch in the back training field. My appearance has always disturbed these pathetic humans, but I noticed that they started looking at me differently after the Hokage tried to make me get a haircut. I only let the man cut the back of my head before I slashed at him for cutting my ear. It was 2 weeks of people staring until I understood. One drunk ninja saw me wandering the streets at night and in his stupor called me the 4th. Looking up at the Hokage monument as he had that night long ago, he can see the same hairstyle on the 4th's head. Standing and walking towards the back entrance, he walks taller than he usually does and almost struts to the building looking like a small dirty orange 4th Hokage. And now, with the body of the son of the 4th, I will change their vision of hope to despair. And with that last thought, Naruto slides the door open and makes his way through the hallways to the classroom with all the noise. pausing at the classroom door for just a second to listen to the amount of noise from people talking and moving around. Sounds like the room is almost full. Oh, the surprise on their faces when they see me should be interesting. Standing in the dead center of the door, he reaches up with his right hand and slides the door open so fast it slams into the wall with a loud smack. And I was right, look at their faces. In that one moment when the door slammed open, the whole classroom of leaf headbanded children's attention turned to see Naruto in his whole new garb standing in the doorway. The blonde could just barely feel the change in air pressure at the almost silent, nearly unanimous gasp. Some stared in disbelief, one even had her mouth open, and most others looked like they were trying to understand something difficult but scared at the same time. Some of the more brave ones narrowed their eyes at Naruto, like the ones he was locked with right now. Sasuke Uchiha, still not afraid to look me in the eye. Let's test his nerve. Naruto ignores the whispers of, I thought he didn't graduate, and, I heard from my father the other day that they almost killed him last week, but Naruto can't help but smirk at the gossip about him. He silently walks across the room to climb the steps to take the seat next to Sasuke, putting his feet up on the desk and arms behind his back. He sits there frowning and looking indifferent. After a couple of minutes go by and more people fill the room, a pair of footsteps come from behind and pause by his side. Naruto, what are you doing here? This is for graduates only. Looking up at Shikamaru's frowning face, he also notices with a quick flick of his eyes a couple others listening for the answer to the question. What are you, blind and stupid? You see the headband I'm wearing, don't you? So I guess that means I graduated. Shikamaru grunts as he walks away and says, what a drag, under his breath, and before he was too far away to hear, Naruto says, dumbass, as he always does to Shikamaru's retreating form. And now, the sudden entrance of two Kuniaki by the back door catches his attention. Looking back, he can see Nosy and Pinky fighting over who was first getting in the door. Just as the thought was crossing his mind that they were being stupid and Naruto starts to turn away, his gaze makes contact with someone who was looking at him. But when his eyes go to flick back to the pale eyes looking at him, she had noticed him notice her and was now looking very nervously at her desk. Putting his hands behind his head again and leaning back into his seat, he closes his eyes and tries to block out the noise with his own thoughts. How long till this is over? I can never stand the smell of these people stewing together in this box of a room. I can smell them now, most of them smell of dirt, some excrement under a shoe, nervous sweat, potato chips, and, sniff, him. Lilacs, and what else is it? Sniff. Lavender. It's that girl, that quiet one who was looking at me earlier. She smells. Sniff. Very calming. And, sniff. What? Sniff sniff. Now he can smell a bunch of scents mixed together and close, sweat mixed with pheromones and anger, nervousness, a little fear, and lots of perfume. Opening his eyes and turning his attention back to the outside world, he notices that the smell was a group of bickering girls standing in the stairs right next to him. They were throwing back and forth at each other. Back off, pig, I'm the one sitting next to Sasuke, and no way, I was here first, or Sasuke doesn't want to sit next to you. But now, Naruto had had enough of them. Shut the hell up, he thunders at the group of pre-teens. All of them stop talking at the same time, and it seems for the first time they notice that Naruto was sitting next to Sasuke the whole time. Some are backing away in fear and others have nervous faces as they contemplate the chances of sitting next to their crush but having to deal with Naruto too. You have no right to be yelling at us like that, Naruto. Sasuke doesn't want to sit next to you, he wants me to sit next to him. That nosy, blonde one is usually the only one brave enough to say something. Yeah, that's right, someone as awesome like Sasuke wants one of his friends to sit next to him, so get out of the way. At this, Naruto jumps up to his feet in a crouch on his seat. He puts on his I'm pissed at you face and watches as they all cringe in fright. As they stare in fear, saying nothing in their collective shock, Naruto with a growl jumps and spins back through the air to land on all fours on the desk in front of Sasuke to glare nose to nose into his dark eyes. Screaming at Naruto's actions, the girls go into a panic. Naruto, get away from Sasuke, what do you think you're doing, and stop glaring at Sasuke. Looking back at their squawking for a second, he growls one more time and looks back to stare intently into black orbs. What is so special about you, Uchiha? You don't even have a Sharingan. Sasuke's eyes were chilly before, but now they blazed like they were going to ignite a fire jutsu. The whole classroom watches each of them not move an inch as their stare down continues, and from the look of it the whole classroom thought they were moments from having an ugly fight. Hey, what's going on? The kid in the row in front of Naruto turns fast and without looking bumps into the crouched orange boy on the desk behind him. And in the next few moments the whole room felt time slow down. When Naruto is bumped it pushes his balance forward, and the surprise of being bumped hits his mind in the first millisecond. In the next millisecond he sees Sasuke's face quickly approaching his, and by the third millisecond realized as everyone else who was watching had that the closeness and position of their heads would press their faces into a human kiss. And in the fourth millisecond when both Naruto and Sasuke as well as all the fangirls' realization of what is to come in the next moment brings the same surprised scared expression to all their faces. And as time seems to speed back up to normal, as it does always right before a big accident, Sasuke's face seems to rush the last few quarter inches of space between them. And then, smack. And as time speeds back up for the rest of the class they see Naruto's face heading on a collision course with Sasuke's, but in the last few moments of slow motion they see Naruto's head lift back as if trying to lean away from contact. And then Naruto's head slams back forward driving the steel leaf headband into Sasuke's nose causing the telltale sound of breaking bone. Sasuke takes the hit smacking his head on the desk behind him and falling over to his side dazed. Naruto jump flips again landing on the desk of the kid who bumped him, and punches him right the skull, watch your step klutz. He then walks across the desk and jumps off onto the stairs and moves through the remaining fangirls who weren't fussing over the precious Sasuke, to take a seat in the only empty row in the middle of the class. By now Sasuke had gotten his wits back and was holding his nose when he said, Naruto. But before he can say anything else, Iruka chose this time to enter the classroom. Good morning students. Oh well, I guess after today I can't say that to you anymore. Since today you all start the path of being genin and will be joining your predetermined squads. After putting down his envelope holding the team positions on his desk he takes a second to see the still tense looks of some standing students. Well, come on now, let's see some organization. Everyone take a seat so I can tell you which teams you're on. Iruka watches the mad dash of students taking the last of the seats. Haha, just like the first day of school, they're all so nervous and excited at the same time, and they look a little afraid. I wonder if Naruto did something again. After the rush to find seats, Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke all ended up in the same aisle. Naruto, sitting there like he was bored, Sakura, staring with a smile at Sasuke, and Sasuke, pushing his nose until he feels a pop glares past Sakura at the oblivious Naruto. As Iruka starts listing off the names excited chatter is whispered through the room. Naruto thinks on who his teammates were going to be. I don't really care who's on my team, but now I'm going to have to get some intel on them. I don't really know anything about any of them. After scanning the room looking at everyone his attention stops on Pinky, right next to him and her conversation with Nosy, right behind her. Those two are always talking to each other, even thought I can tell they hate each other, UGHH, and they are talking about what else, Sasuke. And now Team 7. On second thought I don't care who's on my team as long as it's not with her, and her pretty boy too. Uzumaki Naruto, the blonde's head snaps up, and Haruno Sakura, and both Naruto and Sakura both put sour looks on their faces but Sakura shrieks in fear as her eyes spread wide in shock. Behind them, Nosy, snidely says, ha, nice knowing you Sakura. Clearing his throat Iruka pipes up with, and the last member of Team 7, Uchiha Sasuke. Jumping to her feet Sakura throws her hands in the air and cries, yes, victory is mine. Glaring over at his two new teammates, Naruto can't help himself and stands slamming his hands on the table. Hold on, why are you teaming me up with the Uchiha bastard and the useless Pinky? There is no way this team will work with two losers signed up. Sakura, getting angry at being called useless, thinks better at saying anything as she takes in the angry expression of the demon boy, but not Sasuke. Who are you calling a loser, lunatic? Sasuke's posture straightens in his seat as he stares down the dirty blonde. Naruto looks back and with a rather unimpressed look on his face and stares down the Uchiha. Shut up, loser, before I headbutt your nose back in place. Sasuke gets to his feet and so does Naruto, putting a foot up on the bench to stare each other down with Sakura trying to make herself smaller in between them. Naruto, Sasuke, if you listen you will understand why we have put you three together. Each squad is picked and paired depending on each other's skills complementing each other. Teams are assembled then based upon those experiences and skills. Some are reconnaissance teams, others are tracking teams, some will spend all of their missions on codes and intelligence, and others like yours is a combat squad. Sasuke and Naruto, you both had the high scores in Taijutsu and Shuriken classes but just okay in test scores. Sakura was the top of the class in both knowledge and genjutsu ability. So with the combination of both of your physical strength with the knowledge and mental prowess of Sakura, your team could be a force to be reckoned with. Growling at the impossibility of arguing with sound logic, Naruto's face sours as he looks askance at his two new teammates. He sits down and folds his arms as Iruka continues on to list off the last of the teams as he thinks on everything he knows about his two classmates. But the more he racks his brain, he can't think of one thing he knows about them. When Iruka finishes calling out the names, he tells the class that they will be pausing for a lunch break and recommends that each team take the time to get to know each other. Yeah, time to know what makes you two tick, and how I can manipulate them to make both weaker than me so that I will push ahead and leave them in the dust. And with the bell ringing at noon, the class disperses out the exits to whatever spot they decided to have lunch. And on the way out, Naruto was followed by Sasuke, and Sakura was desperately trying to keep up, calling out the whole way, Sasuke. By the time most had made it outside, Sasuke had lost Naruto among the crowd. Looking back and forth, he couldn't see the blonde troublemaker anywhere, and as he scanned the outer buildings, his thoughts were interrupted by the pink head that was now in front of him. Hey Sasuke, since we're both on the same team now, I was thinking we could have lunch together. You know, so we can get to know each other. She stands there with a smile so big her eyes are closed that she doesn't notice that Sasuke has walked around her and begins searching for Naruto. By the time she notices Sasuke walking away, she's too far away to call out to him as he jumps to a nearby rooftop. That's so sad, neither of my teammates are very social, looks like I'm having lunch alone. Sakura walks over to the nearby concrete bench and sits down to unwrap her bento box, not noticing one of her teammates watching from the top of a tower overlooking the courtyard. Naruto stares down at the easy target setting up for lunch, looking in the direction Sasuke went. A plan starts to form in his mind. With a few quick hand signs ending in the Nezumi sign, Naruto shimmers then disappears as he calls out, Transparency Jutsu. On a nearby rooftop, Team 8 is hanging out eating their lunch, or at least one team member was eating enough for all three of them. As Chuji chows down on rice ball after rice ball, Ino lectures a annoyed-looking Shikamaru about the future of the team's dynamic. Ino, will you quit being such a drag? We've known each other all our lives and you know we are together to keep the Inoshikacho combo going. So relax already and wait with all the orders, we're going to be under the command of a Jonin so we don't need another bossy person around. Ino's growl pulls Shikamaru away from his cloud watching to look at a very pissed off looking girl. UHHHG, why do I have to be with such slackers, if I was only on Sasuke's team instead of forehead girl? Crossing her arms across her chest, she turns her attention across the street to one of the buildings a few stories shorter than their own. Looking down where she is looking, Shikamaru can't contain the words, what a drag, is that why you chose this spot? Because Sasuke is eating lunch in that window. Ino responds only with a hum as she leans on the railing staring at her crush. For that one moment they all have their attention trained on Sasuke as he eats his own lunch while leaning out the window. And in that one moment of absolute normalcy, each one of them could not expect what happened to Sasuke next. While mid-bite, Sasuke's head suddenly slams down on the window railing as if he had bent at the waist and bowed. Reeling from the head trauma, Sasuke falls back to the ground and rolls out of sight. Team 8 can only watch in shock as they look through an empty window as they hear the sounds of a struggle and Sasuke cry out, "What are you doing, Naruto?" Ino's angry face tightens as she raises her fist, "Naruto, if you hurt Sasuke you will be on my enemy list for life." The sound of more crashing and noise from the struggle can be heard, and Shikamaru says over his shoulder, "Yeah, you threatening and actually telling Naruto what to do, I can totally see you getting away with that." A few seconds after the sound of the fight dies down, they all see Sasuke jump out of the window and run away. "Huh, I knew my Sasuke would win, he's too cool to be taken by surprise." Ino, standing looking rather smitten, watches Sasuke's retreating back. Chuji looks at Shikamaru's thoughtful expression, wondering what was on his mind. "Naruto, you attacked Sasuke without him noticing you, and even I couldn't see you attack him. And by the look at that attack you were standing right next to him, so that means you can become invisible. What a drag." Back at the benches, Sakura finishes her light lunch and sits thinking on Team 7. True love conquers after all. Sasuke and I being on the same team is just fate telling us we are meant to be together. But he totally ignored me when I asked him to have lunch with me. I figured since we were on the same team we would have lunch together to get to know each other better. But with Naruto on the team, he's going to distract Sasuke from paying attention to me, and besides he's so crazy he might even try to kill me. Sitting up looking at the sky, her memories over the years of the raven-haired boy and the blonde run across her eyes. Images of the two in almost constant combat, the scary looks Naruto would give her, and the totally indifferent looks Sasuke would shoot her and all the other girls around. Sighing dreamily, she whispers out, "Sasuke," and as her eyes train down to the tops of the trees and then to their trunks, she finds Sasuke standing there staring at her as if she had summoned him with his name. He's staring straight at me, and he's smiling. Oh, what am I going to do? What if he talks to me? What if he wants to hold hands? Or what if he wants to kiss? Wait, common Sakura, true love works slowly. There is no way he would want to spend time with me. Sakura, her head snaps up to look at Sasuke walk to stand right in front her. The look on your face is so precious, I feel like I should take a picture to remember it forever. Sakura in her amazement just stares, but inner Sakura pumps a fist into the air and yells, "Cha cha cha, who's the hottest? Me, that's right." But her happiness is short-lived as Sasuke takes the seat next to her saying, "Just kidding." So Sakura, I want to ask you what you think about our team. What are your strengths, and more importantly what do you think about Naruto? He looks her in the eye, giving her a soft searching expression like all he wanted was the truth. Oh Sasuke, let me tell you about me. I'm named after a cherry blossom, my favorite food is okonomiyaki, and I really like taking walks through the trees. Do you want to go for a walk? Sakura, that's not quite what I meant. I mean, I don't know much about my new teammates. What do you think about Naruto being on our team? Sasuke leans forward to place his arms on his knees and fold his hands in front of his face in his brooding way. Frowning at Sasuke bringing up Naruto again, she looks into the sky. Naruto has always been a problem. He shows up and ruins everything no matter what. He's brutish, nasty, and downright evil sometimes. Sasuke's concerned eyes turn to Sakura as she continues, I don't know what's wrong with him, I don't know why he's so mad all the time. Nobody is nice to him and everyone either hates him or is scared to be around him. And he smells too. Sasuke leans back at this information and snorts out a laugh. Amazed at the progress they were making with each other, she smiles and tries a new tactic. Sasuke, we can't trust what Naruto is going to do, he's way too unpredictable. Since we're on the same team, we are going to have to learn to work together and look out for Naruto. Turning to face her, he tilts his head to the side. You're right, we're on the same team, so we're going to have to learn to look out for each other. Sakura in this moment thinks her life couldn't get any better until a thought crosses her mind. Sasuke, this means you care about me, right? As she says the last word, her eyes start to gloss as they slowly close and she leans in, slightly pursing her lips. Frowning and looking slightly confused, Sasuke looks at the face closing the gap between them. Just like before, when someone else's face came in this close, nerves he normally doesn't feel make him shake. But different than before, when those nerves went off earlier he could only think of getting away somehow, now he was filled with a nervous anticipation he's never felt. Now this feeling makes his body involuntarily lean in closer till their foreheads touch, and looking into her eyes he sees emotion that he has no words for. Sakura lightly bites her bottom lip as she stares into Sasuke's eyes. It's true, I'm desperate for you. With her lips slightly apart, her eyes close all the way as she moves just a little bit closer. Turning his head just a little bit, he doesn't have to move far to lock lips with the pink girl. He could hear her heartbeat climb as her lips start to delicately pull on his. And the sound of their first kiss reaches their ears. Without thinking they both get closer, her arms wrapping around his neck and his hands on her hip and small of her back. Their lips connect again, and again, sliding and pulling at each other's lips, making that small sound as their kiss becomes more passionate and deep. What in the hell is going on here? The harsh sound of the voice broke them apart, making Sakura feel like she had been caught being bad by Iruka. But what she sees doesn't register in her brain in the first few seconds. What is Sasuke doing over there if he is right here with me? Looking at the boy, she was just lip-locked with her eyes search his for an answer to her confusion. And her answer came as the embodiment of her love and desire transforms back into the dirty orange blonde who has been ruining her life. Her hands cover her mouth in shock as she sounds like she stifles a cry, and Naruto stands to walk up and away behind her. Stop right there, Naruto, you have some answers I want. Turning around with his hands in his pockets, Naruto smiles back at Sasuke. What, are you going to make me? After today I really doubt you could. You son of a bitch. Sakura had jumped to her feet and catching Naruto completely by surprise slammed a fist into his face. And by the time she finished the word, bitch, Naruto is flying backwards spinning in the air with a nosebleed trailing behind him. Naruto props himself up with one elbow as he holds his cheek with the other while looking at the steaming mad pink-haired girl. I can't believe you did that. By Kami I would never kiss you. You are now officially evil. The only reason I kissed you or I would ever kiss you is because I thought you were Sasuke, you bastard. Realizing what she had just said, she nervously peeks back at the real Sasuke to gauge his response. But his attention wasn't on her at all. He was focused glaring at Naruto who had now gotten to his feet. So, start talking. Why did you attack me earlier? Why are you going around kissing girls hendered as me? And just what the hell is wrong with you, kid? Pumping her fist and intensifying her glare at Naruto, she chimes in, yeah, start talking, Naruto. Brushing himself off, Naruto looks between the two angry faces and laughs at the new information he's learned about them. Well, Sasuke, you and me have been fighting for years, so I know how well you fight. But now I just wanted to test out a new jutsu of mine, and if I can use it as well as I did against you, then it's gonna be a lot of fun to pull off later. And Sakura, for all I knew today, was useless, but to be honest, she can hit harder than you. I was taken by surprise since I thought she had no talent whatsoever, but surprise surprise, she has a cannon on that shoulder. Looking less angry but still livid, Sakura's vein on her forehead twitches. So why did you kiss me like that? You set me up for this. Have you been planning this or what? Humph, I didn't plan anything. I came here transformed into him to get information from you, and to find out if you two are just a couple of scared children. I can't work with fear, but hate, now that is the power of shinobi. Sakura's angry expression pulls into confusion, and Sasuke listened even more intently if that is possible. Hate gives you strength and focus. Hate can fuel you to push further and accomplish more. Hate makes you see your objective and strike down all in your path to get it. I learned the truth about you too. You both can hate so you can become ninja, like me. And you're the one who tried to kiss me. Turning his back on both of them, he starts to walk away, heading back to the academy. And besides, I thought I would do you a favor anyway. You know Sasuke is never going to kiss you. I think he plays for the other team. It was a strange sound that reached his ears. Strange enough he had to stop. Even stranger now that the hairs on the back of his head start to stand, sensing danger. The sound was like stepping on a twig in the forest, loud and echoing. If he had turned around earlier when he said the word team, he would have seen that the strange sound had happened when both Sasuke and Sakura's faces instantly turned murderous. And with the shouted name of Naruto, like a starting gunshot, all three members began a strange chase that circled the academy 5 times. Lunch was over, like over 3 hours ago. The only team left waiting for their Jonin-sensei in the classroom was Team 7. They were happy at first for the chance to rest after their strange chase, but now Naruto was pacing, Sakura was looking depressed, and Sasuke, well, Sasuke's face doesn't change much, but if annoyance had a sitting position, he was in it. After another 20 minutes, Naruto had had enough, and walking over to the door with a chair in tow, he slides open the door and peeks out. Standing on the chair, he takes out one of the kunai from his leg holster and pins the knife at the top of the door. Naruto, can you please stop being evil and crazy for an hour? Do you think you can do that? Jumping off the chair and kicking it in the direction of where he got it from, he looks up at Sakura. Flattery makes you cuter, Sakura. Whatever, I do what I want, and what I want is to prank this bastard for making me wait. Our teacher is a Jonin. I doubt he's going to fall for a simple trap like that. And just like if fate was listening, a sound reaches their ears telling them someone is at the door. Anticipation spreads across the Genin's faces as the door slides open and the knife falls with gravity. Eyes wide taking in the path of the kunai, they watch as it falls all the way to the floor to embed itself in the sandal of the masked Jonin in the door. Laughing hard, Naruto points and taunts. Sakura desperately tries to explain while laughing on the inside, and Sasuke just looks like he always does, like he doesn't care about anyone or anything. Bending over to pick up the kunai lodged in between his toes, the silver hair ninja stands examining the knife, not looking at the students in the room. HMMN, now let me see here, my first impression of this team, you're a bunch of sociopaths. Sweat dropping at the comment. Team 7 takes in the bored-looking majesty that is Kakashi-sensei. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.